They told us the Earth had no more secrets. They said every map was complete, every ocean crossed, and every land discovered. But what if I told you that was a lie? What if, hidden beyond the frozen deserts of Antarctica, past the towering walls of ice that stretch higher than skyscrapers, there lies a world untouched, a realm forbidden to human eyes? This is the story of the man who dared to go where no one was ever meant to go. A navigator who crossed the impenetrable ice walls of Antarctica and revealed what lies beyond. But beware. What he discovered will shatter everything you thought you knew about our planet, about history, and even about humanity itself. Stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to hear is one of the greatest secrets ever buried. For centuries, Antarctica has been wrapped in mystery. Discovered only a little over 200 years ago, it remains the coldest, harshest, and most isolated place on Earth. Temperatures can plummet to -100 degrees Fahrenheit, winds scream across the plains at hurricane speeds, and the continent itself, twice the size of Australia, is encased in a fortress of ice. Scientists tell us this land is barren, lifeless, and impossible to cross. But is that the truth, or is that the story they want you to believe? Because in the 20th century, there were whispers of something more, whispers of hidden lands beyond the ice, whispers that one navigator claimed to have seen with his own eyes. This man was not a dreamer, not a myth-maker. He was a seasoned explorer, a master of the seas, and someone whose testimony could not be easily dismissed. He claimed to have sailed past the barriers, through passages few dared to attempt, until finally, the ice walls gave way. What he saw next defied reason. Endless stretches of land, green and fertile, stretching far beyond the horizon, rivers and forests in a place that should have been frozen wasteland. And not just land but signs of civilization. Ancient structures, towering monuments, and technologies that did not belong to any known human timeline. How could this be? How could something so extraordinary be hidden from the world? And why would governments and institutions work so hard to keep it a secret? Let's step back for a moment. Ask yourself, why is Antarctica locked down tighter than any other place on Earth? Did you know that in 1959, the most powerful nations of the world signed a treaty forbidding any private exploration, settlement, or resource extraction in Antarctica? Think about that. At the height of the Cold War, when the US and the Soviet Union were ready to destroy each other, suddenly they agreed on one thing: Antarctica must remain untouched. What secret is so great that enemies would instantly become allies just to keep it hidden? Could it be that they know exactly what lies beyond the ice walls? The navigator's testimony suggests that the Earth may not be what we've been told. For centuries, myths have spoken of lands beyond the known world. The ancient Greeks wrote about Hyperborea, a paradise hidden at the edges of the Earth. Norse legends told of realms beyond the frozen seas. Even old maps drawn by explorers like Piri Reisient at coastlines that shouldn't exist, lands not visible to us today. Were these stories just imagination or glimpses of something real, something deliberately erased? Our navigator claimed that once he passed the towering walls of ice, the world changed. The air grew warmer, the skies clearer. It was as if he had entered another ecosystem entirely, touched, vibrant, alive. He described colossal mountains, waterfalls spilling from cliffs taller than anything on Earth, and strange animals, unlike any ever catalogued. But the most shocking part of his testimony was not the land or the wildlife. It was the evidence of advanced beings. Structures made of materials resistant to time, strange symbols carved into stone, and what appeared to be machinery half buried in the soil. Who built these things? Were they remnants of a lost civilization or proof of a parallel world hidden beyond the ice? If you think this sounds impossible, consider this. Even today, Antarctica is one of the least explored places on Earth. We've mapped the surface with satellites, but what lies beneath its miles of ice remains largely unknown. In 2016, NASA satellites detected massive structures under the ice, geometric shapes stretching for miles. Some scientists claimed they were just natural formations, but others, looking closer, argued they were too precise, too intentional, too the accidents of nature. Could they be the remnants of what our navigator described? Could there really be a hidden world just waiting to be revealed? And if this is true, if a navigator really crossed beyond the walls, why don't we know his name? Why isn't his story taught in schools? The answer is simple: suppression. His records, his journals, and his testimonies were seized, classified, or ridiculed. Anyone who dared to speak of hidden lands beyond Antarctica was silenced, discredited, or worse, yet fragments of his story survived. Whispers in old archives, leaked documents, and eyewitness accounts from those who knew him. They all described the same thing: a man who had seen too much, and who paid the price for revealing it. But here's the question you must ask yourself: if there is nothing beyond the ice, if Antarctica is truly just an endless wasteland, then why would anyone need to cover it up? Why such secrecy, such control, such absolute restriction on exploration? That Antarctic Treaty is the only treaty in history signed by every major power that has never been broken. For over 60 years, countries that fight over everything else, soil, borders, religion, have all agreed to stay away from Antarctica. Doesn't that strike you as strange? Doesn't that feel like the kind of agreement that only exists when the stakes are too high for the truth to come out? Some researchers believe that what lies beyond is not just new land, but new continents, vast and resource-rich, perhaps even more advanced than our own. Imagine a world with unlimited fresh water, endless forests, and minerals untapped by human hands. Imagine civilizations that have thrived in isolation for thousands, maybe millions of years. What if the Navigator glimpsed not just ruins but living beings? What if beyond the ice walls, there are societies far older, far wiser, and far more powerful than we are? Wouldn't that explain why governments would do anything to keep it hidden? Because the moment the world learns we are not the pinnacle of civilization, everything changes. Power shifts, control is lost, and the truth cannot be contained. Throughout history, explorers who discovered forbidden truths often met grim fates. Sailors who spoke of strange lands were branded liars. Scientists who challenged the narrative were ostracized. Yet, time and time again, what was once ridiculed became reality. Think about it. Once the world laughed at the idea of continents beyond Europe, they dismissed the Americas as fantasy until Columbus proved otherwise. Once, they said flying was impossible and Wright brothers lifted off. And now, they say there is nothing beyond Antarctica's ice. But what if one man has already proven them wrong? The Navigator's journey is more than a tale of discovery, it is a warning. If he saw fertile lands, advanced ruins, impossible civilizations, then humanity's greatest secret lies not in outer space, but right here on our planet. And maybe, just maybe, that's why they want us to keep looking at the stars. Because if we ever dare to look south, to cross the forbidden walls of ice, we might realize that the greatest mystery is not above us, but beneath our feet, hidden in plain sight. So the next time you see Antarctica on a map, don't just see a white blank spot. See the secrets buried under its ice. See the forbidden passageways, see the lands beyond that you were never meant to know. And remember the Navigator, the man who crossed the walls, who dared to reveal the impossible. They silenced him. They erased his name, but they could not erase the truth. The question is, will you choose to believe it? Because somewhere, beyond the endless ice, lies a world that changes everything.